All right, guys, I just got off a grueling 4.5 hour live stream, and no, I'm not kidding. Legitimately, obviously, reaction to this game, a lot of people reacting to it, stuff like that. Crazy, both of these games, amazing, exactly what college football needs for sure. Right now, I'm going to focus on the Ohio State-Georgia one because it's like you need a separate video for both of these games because they're so good. My voice is totally shot at this point, but I am going to try and give everyone a legitimate summary of this game and kind of what happened. My big takeaways: C.J. Stroud, what an amazing game, what an amazing performance for him. Really showed. Although there was one sack where I was like, come on, man, because he ran right to the back of the sack when he could have just stepped up in the pocket. Other than that, guys, C.J. Stroud was great. Marvin Harrison in the first half was great. He did have two, drops, and that was tough. But, obviously the situation with Marvin Harrison, it's just crippling, especially with the amount of weight they put on player safety now, to the point where Ohio State has a third down. C.J. Stroud throws it to the end zone. Marvin Harrison gets a concussion. They throw the flag for it, and then they pick the flag up. So Marvin Harrison gets the concussion, and Ohio State doesn't get the first and goal, which obviously becomes very critical because Ohio State is forced to settle for the field goal. They leave 4 points on the table. It would have been first and goal at the 1 yard line had the flag stood, which is just shocking that they would pick a flag like that up in this day and age when they're so concerned about player safety pertaining to the head. But they pick it up. I mean, guys, I was watching it. I was shocked. I was like, I had it on mute because I was doing the live stream, and I was like, wow, there is like, what I had thought had happened. Let me tell you what I thought happened on the Marvin Harrison Jr. play. I thought that it was an illegal touching play. So Marvin stepped out of bounds, came back in, then got targeted, and it would just be like a redo third down or fourth down or whatever. That's originally what I had thought. But then my chat was like, no, they picked it up. It's a rigged. It's a joke. And that's when I realized it. So that's just crazy, guys. I mean, you want to talk about the technology. I have no clue. I'm in the twilight zone. I've never seen that before in my life. You guys know how many, videos I've uploaded of college football. I guess they're trying to bring new technology in. But that play, I immediately called it in my live stream that they would not be able to overturn that Brock Bowers catch because it was a spot call, and Brock Bowers, listen, I don't want to get this wrong, but I believe if you are hovering over the out-of-bounds marker, like your whole body's out of bounds, even if your feet are in, the ball is out of bounds. It can't be advanced because it's out of bounds. It's not in the field of play. It's kind of hard to explain, but the fact that they overturned that because of that sham technology, whatever it is. And again, guys, a lot of people are like casual. They don't know. That's never been a thing. So they just brought that in, and it's like, oh, we got this new little gadget. Let's overturn something because of it. That was crazy. I think there were multiple problems with Jim Knowles, with Ryan Day. I will give Ryan Day credit for running that fake punt. It was beautiful. Kirby Smart did a good job calling a timeout. It was bang, bang, and it did look like Kirby Smart wanted to call a timeout, stopped. The play, it was hiked, then he called a timeout, and they gave it to him after the ball was hiked. But I will give Kirby Smart credit for, calling the timeout a little bit ahead of time because he saw the formation alignment, and it was kind of a bang-bang thing. Okay, whatever. And it's just unfortunate for Ohio State. That's a situation on 4th and 1. We saw Ohio State versus Michigan have the same issue where the fake got botched and things like that. So either way, guys, I mean, what a game from C.J. Stroud. You want to talk about the end of the game? You need 10 more yards. And what Ryan Day did on 1st and 10, it's a borderline terrorist act. I'm kidding, but seriously, guys, you cannot run the ball on 1st and 10 at the 30. Your kicker is not accurate enough from 48, 49 yards. Ohio State has 1st and 10 at the 31. You've got to throw the football, man. I know it's tough. I know you're risking a sack. The ball has to be thrown. You need more yards. You can't turtle up and run the ball. They run the ball to Dolan Hayden. They lose a yard. Now it's 2nd and 11. They throw. Stroud gets pressured. 4th and 11. It ends up being incomplete. Stroud gets pressured again. And now you're looking at a 50-yard field goal. And Happy New Year, guys, because they were saying, that Ruggles missed the kick right at midnight. I didn't even know. I mean, I saw the kick and then I looked at the clock and it was like 12:01 and I was like, Jesus, I didn't. It was like right on midnight. I don't even know how that timing aligns. I was actually asking my chat, what ends first, 2022 or this game? And everyone was saying 2022. Well, it turned out they ended, I believe, at the exact same time. I don't know the exact numbers. I'm sure someone could look it up. But either way, guys, Stetson Bennett was certainly good. There's no denying that. It was a good game from Stetson Bennett. Really bad game from Jim Knowles' defense, especially like running, second quarter, Ohio State had a really bad defensive quarter. They ended up giving up 300 total yards in the first half. That simply can't happen. But it did look like it was, manageable. And then I really think the game turned when Marvin Harrison got the concussion and they didn't get the flag, so they had to kick a field goal and they lost Marvin Harrison Jr. for the rest of the game. So guys, this is definitely a game. It's a classic. It's great. I would certainly say the early line right now in terms of Georgia TCU is favoring Georgia. The thing with TCU, I know everyone is really high on TCU, and I love TCU. They're such a great story. But my whole thing with TCU is, we saw TCU lose to Kansas State, the same Kansas State team that just got crushed by Alabama. So these teams are very different week in and week out, and I would favorite Georgia by at least, I would say, 10 points against TCU. The look-ahead line in the TCU-Georgia game was Georgia minus, I think, 15.5 before these games were played. So good performance, unbelievable performance by TCU. One of the best in program history. But that's another thing. But I do just quickly want to talk about this game and I'm just going to run through the stats really quickly. So Ohio State had a slight advantage in terms of first downs. Third down efficiency, pretty even. Ohio State did a really good job. Georgia was 2 of 10. Ohio State was 4 of 12. Georgia converted that, that was not a first down to Brock Bowers, guys. It was not. They brought out fake technology, and the ball was out of bounds. It was all out of bounds. Ohio State was 0 for 0 on fourth down. They tried to attempt a first down in the first half and get it on a run to C.J. Stroud, but their fullback had an illegal motion, and they were forced to punt. And then Ohio State, Ryan Day tried to dial up the fake, just a fake punt, and they were going to get it again, but Kirby Smart calls the timeout. That's kind of suspect. You take a look at the passing yards, Georgia, or the total yards, Georgia has a decent lead. I would say not crazy, 533 to 467. Penalties pretty even. It really, I will say, definitely in a situation like this, like I saw Zach Harrison getting held, but I also saw Georgia defensive linemen getting held. And if it's a situation like that to where you're just going to let him play, I'm okay with it. Because, it is what it is. You're going to let him play. There's not going to be many flags. I understand that part of it from the referees for sure. And that seemed to be kind of what they were doing. And both teams ended up with 4 penalties. Ohio State ended up slightly in the lead in terms of possession. C.J. Stroud, 348, 4 touchdowns. Dalton Hayden, I thought, ran pretty well. C.J. running very, that run he had, I think everyone thought that was the clincher. With like a minute left, it was a 30 yards. What was it? I'm guessing that was the 27-yard run where he just kept going with long strides. And, they just took the ball out of his hands. They ran it to Dalton Hayden. You just can't do it there, man. You have to get more yards. You cannot turtle up in that situation. I understand they thought maybe they could have run it, but you have to let C.J. Stroud throw, in my opinion, in that situation. Emeka Egbuka, great game. Unbelievable third down catch that's no one's going to talk about anymore now. But he had an unbelievable catch on third down late in that game to give Ohio State a first down when they were up 38 to 35. And guys, I had said this in my live stream. I said, listen, if Ohio State settles for a field goal, they're losing this game 42 to 41. And that's exactly what happened. So guys, it's just field goals will lose you college football games. You have to score touchdowns. You have to score touchdowns. Georgia had 2 field goals and like a 2-point conversion. Ohio State, 2 field goals and then the missed field goal. But either way, maybe I'll do an in-depth reaction once I get some sleep and things like that to really understand this game and really, dig into it and stuff like that. But obviously, definitely a happy new year to everyone and things like that for sure for 2023. It's just kind of a weird situation with 2023 coming in right almost as that kick was missed. I don't think I've seen something like that in college football in a while. And I'm sure there's a lot of other plays that I'm missing, guys. I'm just doing this right now. I'm trying to remember stuff and things like that. Because Jim Knowles, to me, 2 horrible defensive schemes in the first half for Ohio State. So the big one, listen, having Tommy Eichenberg run 70 yards down the field, that's ridiculous. But what's even worse, you have Georgia. This was when Georgia, it might have been their first or second touchdown. You have them I think it was their first. 2nd and 17, they're at Ohio State's 25-yard line. So the field is condensed. And you have all of your defensive backs 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. And Georgia, on 2nd and 17, throws a screen pass and scores a touchdown off of it. I just do not understand it. When the field is condensed, there's no reason, even if it is 2nd and long, even if it's 3rd and 17, for players to be playing that far off of when it's that condensed. You're not at your own 33. There's the end zone. There's an end goal. You can use the end zone as a defender. And I don't know, guys. So either way, just looking at this, who remembers when Marvin Harrison fumbled? I just, like, it says he has 1 fumble. I remember that because I remember saying he's coming from behind. You got to watch out. And Marvin Harrison didn't have a catch in the second half. That's crazy. He had like 100 yards in like the first 12, almost like 17 or 18 minutes, it felt like. But either way, there's Steele Chambers, the interception on the miscommunication. Certainly that was a huge break for Ohio State. Nothing came. Well, actually they scored, and that's kind of why Ohio State was actually leading at half. And then Ohio State comes out into the second half, up 28-24. Georgia gets the ball, 3 and out. Ohio State gets the ball back, touchdown. That's when I was like, oh my goodness, they're winning this game, 35-24. And then, guys, Ohio State gets the ball back again, 35-24. The concussion should be a 1st and goal. They pick the flag up. Marvin Harrison Jr. is out for the game. You go up by 2 touchdowns. But I don't know, guys. It just seemed ridiculous. But, guys, I think a lot of people made money. Certainly, I said Ohio State +6. I did say Ohio State money line. Unfortunately, that didn't hit, but I did say Ohio State +6. I did say the over. I did say Iowa money line. I said the under in the Iowa-Kentucky game. I said some other things earlier today. The TCU-Michigan, I said I like TCU plus the 7.5. I didn't think they would win, but I did like TCU, and I did like Alabama and the over in that game, which both ended up hitting. So we did very well, guys, even with Ohio State losing this late close game in kind of an epic fashion. Unfortunately, it's a situation where I think that the last minute was mismanaged, and you should not have ran the ball. This is just my organic reaction. I haven't talked to anyone or anything like that except the chat, which, just became totally cancerous in the last minute or so. It was just people spamming stuff. I don't know, what was going on. I couldn't even read it. So either way, guys, I just wanted to give everyone a quick message here on the Ohio State, just my quick analysis. CJ Stroud, amazing. So unfortunate career at Ohio State, finishing 0-2 against Michigan. No national titles, but an amazing performance, and that's going to help his draft stock for sure. Ryan Day, I think Ryan Day coached a really good game, guys. I do. I know I was critical, and I am critical. There was just so many unfortunate things in this game. Ryan Day goes for it on 4th down, a line shift. Ryan Day goes for it with a fake punt, the timeout. The only thing I'll say with Ryan Day, it's just the situation in terms of, I had a little bit of an issue with the time usage, but that was only a few seconds. It's marginal. It was just the situation where you're running on 1st and 10. You can't be running the ball, man. You can't. So I don't know, guys. But I think Jim Knowles' defense, you're going to give up points. I understand that, but it got to the point in the second quarter where Georgia was just getting massive runs on gaping holes, and it's like, what is going on? So, Ohio State's really going to have to improve the defense for sure next year, giving up all those yards and whatnot. But either way, guys, that's pretty much all I have for today, or, whatever. I think it's Sunday morning. That is the final thing. I think I'll talk about Michigan TCU tomorrow. I think the number one winner in this whole charade, in this whole situation, is college football. Amazing games, no matter what. TCU, Michigan, 55 This is the best year of the playoff. The best year of the playoff by far. The best year of the 14 playoff. 2 epic games. And guys, I'm looking right now at opening odds. Georgia is minus 13. Georgia is 13-point favorites over TCU. The over-under is set at 63. Those are opening odds I'm seeing on ESPN right now. So that's just an update on that. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.